Hey everybody, it's Mark Vogt with VOGTLAND Outdoors. And now that the weather's nice, there's a lesson, an episode that I always wanted to do, and it's applying the VOGTLAND shooting method to a longbow. In fact, it's an English longbow. 45 pounds, made out of two pieces. It's well done by some guy in actually I think he's out of Russia or the Ukraine. 45 pounds, a 7-inch brace. This is 7 inches. You guys should go out and measure this on your own fists so that you never have to worry about it ever again. You always know. That's called a fist meal. That's the brace. And we're going to look and see if the VOGTLAND shooting method, with its string walking, Olympic archery style of anchoring and this small motion release, can actually work on an English longbow. We've already seen in the past that you can actually do it with a compound bow. You can do it with any and all recurve bows. You can do it with what I'll call modern longbows, even reflex deflex. But this is the first time I get to try it with an English longbow in nice weather. I did it in the winter. So let's see. We're sitting here. This one's going to be 10 yards is going to be the first one that we tackle. Let's go over this VOGTLAND shooting method. It's a 5-step method. Step 1, you choose your gap. And the gap is what determines the angle of the arrow. The gap is what determines the angle of the arrow, up or down, and that angle of the arrow determines the range of the arrow. I anchor under my chin with my first finger, so string walking means that I start off about 1, 2, 3. I'm going to be like this for 10 yards. For a 45-pound bow, I'm going to go a half a finger up for every 10 yards. So if this is 10 yards, this is 20, this is 30, this is 40, this is 50, this is 60, this is 70. This should be good for about 70 yards. If I put a whole finger above, that should be good for 90 yards. If I put 2 fingers above, that should be good for about 110 yards. Let's give it a try. VOGTLAND shooting method, 5 steps. Step 1, choose your gap. Step 2, draw back under your chin. Step 3, look down with your eye. Look down the left edge with this eye. Look down the left edge of the string. Step 4, put the tip of the arrow right smack on your target. Step 5, small motion release. Small motion, small. Not big, not like this, not anything. As small as you can be, like you're a mechanical release on a compound bow. Doink, like that. So here we go at 10 yards. I got to cover my hand up first. Hold on. Step 1, choose my gap. 3 fingers. Step 2, draw back under my chin. Step 3, look down the left side of the string. Step 4, put the tip of the arrow right on the center of the target. Step 5, smooth release. Shot just a little bit to the left, you'll see. But distance-wise, it was actually really good for range. So 3 fingers, like with all of my other 45-pound bows, 3 fingers is my 20-yard shot. Let's shoot a couple more to get a pattern. Whoops, sorry. Step 1, choose my gap. Step 2, draw back under my chin. Step 3, look down the left side of the string. Step 4, put the tip of the arrow right in the center of the ring. Step 5. Let me shoot the rest of these quietly to see if we can get a good grouping. You guys have heard me say in the past, you just cannot talk and shoot at the same time. Oh, did you see that? Bullseye. All I had to do was stop talking. Shooting a longbow is actually kind of fun. That one nearly landed on top of the first one. Shot right down the fletchings. These arrows are a little bit stiff for this particular bow, so they're not bending on their way, not for 10 yards. It's an awful short distance. That's why you see a little movement to the left. Whoops. That one looked really good. Last one, pick the gap, draw back under the chin, look down the left side of the string, put the tip of the arrow in the center of the target. All right, so what did we learn so far? We learned that a longbow and the string walking portion of the VOGTLAND shooting method seems to be very reasonable. Let's go take a peek here. There's 10 yards. There's a little bit of movement to the left, natural for shooting an English longbow because it has to wrap around that shaft, it has to wrap around the bow handle. What's next? Oh, you know what it's next. Next is we go after 20 yards. So let's go back up. Actually, I'm going to pause the camera and go pull my arrows. Okay, I just pulled my arrows and I backed up so that now, actually we're shooting at the same target, but I backed up 10 more yards. So now we're shooting at its true distance, which is 20. And if we look out there, we got 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. I'm at my favorite Kishwaukee Archers Club in Sycamore, Illinois. Best $200 a year you're ever going to spend if you love archery in the area. They've got something like 18 to 20 acres of property. They've got something like, we have like 34 3D targets, either paper targets or straw targets out here. So it's like a Frisbee golf course, only you get to shoot, you get to do archery instead. It's amazing. Check it out, you guys. Kishwaukee Archers Club. All right, here we are at 20 yards. The only thing that changes is the gap. My gap is going to be my gap was 3 fingers for 10 yards. I'm going to try just going up about a half a finger to get to 20. All right. Step 1, choose your gap. 2.5 fingers. Step 2, draw back under the chin. Step 3, look down the left side of the string. Step 4, put the tip of the arrow on the target. Step 5, good distance. Shot left. That's part of the archer's paradox on a bow like this. It's got to wrap around the handle because the handle doesn't have a cutaway so that the arrow goes straight through the center where the string is. It has to wrap around. I'll have to compensate a little bit by shifting and aiming just a hair to the right. Let's continue. Step 1, choose my gap. Step 2, draw back under my chin. Step 3, look down the left side of the string. Step 4, put the tip of the arrow on the target, but a little bit to the right. Step 5, not enough to the right, still wants to go left. But I'll continue shooting. One more arrow at this distance, and then we're going to go after the 30. Because the point is to try to find out, the point is to see just how good you can use the VOGTLAND shooting method on an English longbow. I don't want to fill up 6 arrows on every target. Makes for a longbow. Step 1, or makes for a long video. Step 1, choose your gap. Step 2, draw back under the chin. Step 3, look down the left side of the string. Step 4, put the tip of the arrow on the target, a little bit to the right in this case. Step 5, smooth release, and we're on the paper. Good. Okay, pulled my arrows, and now we're going to shoot at 30 yards. And what changes? The gap. That's it. In this 5-step VOGTLAND shooting method, for different distances, the only thing that changes is the elevation of the arrow, and that just means that the gap has to change. So if 3 fingers was 10, if 2.5 fingers was 20, then 2 fingers is going to be my 30-yard gap. And it's going to look like this. I'm going to draw back under my chin. Let's see. I'm going to look down the left side of the string, and I'm going to put the tip of the arrow right on the target like that. And because it's an English longbow, this really thick handle, I am going to actually aim a little bit to the right like that, knowing that it's going to actually fly out to the left and then go onto the target. So here we go. I'm going to choose my gap, draw back under my chin, look down the left side of the string, put the tip of the arrow on the target, and 4 or 5 do a smooth release. Oh, that looked really good. I got to get a better glove. This thing's getting shoot. I'm just using my forearm guard. I didn't have my glove today, so I'm not going to do too much because it's starting to hit my hand. But we just saw a really nice shot. It was just a hair below the paper. First shot at 30 yards. Let's do one more. Step 1, pick the gap. Step 1, pick the gap, 2 fingers. Step 2, draw back under the chin. Step 3, look down the left side of the string. Step 4, put the tip of the arrow on the target, put a hair to the right for the English longbow. Step 5, you could see it hit the paper, or it hit that cloth over there. I didn't aim enough to the right. Let's try one more, and then we're going to wrap up, because this hurts my hand to actually shoot like this. Last one. Step 1, choose your gap. Step 2, draw back under the chin. Step 3, look down the left side of the string with my eye. Step 4, tip of the arrow right on the target, but a little bit to the right. Step 5, pretty smooth release. Let's go take a look at those, talk a little bit. Oops. So there we see that the VOGTLAND shooting method, this 5-step, choose your gap, draw back under your chin, look down the left edge of the string, put the tip of the arrow on the target, do a small motion release, actually works pretty well for English longbows. English longbows have that big thick handle, there's no denying it. They're going to launch the arrow a little bit to the left every single time, so unless you get your arrows spined correctly, mine are a little too stiff for this bow. Unless you get the arrow enough that it, let's see. Let me go put this bow down. Hold on a second. Okay, here's a little archery theory. What's supposed to happen when the arrow launches out on an English longbow, what's supposed to happen is that the force from the back of the arrow on the string is supposed to actually bend the arrow around the handle like this, so that the head of the arrow is already on the other side of the bow handle, so that it just comes around like this and then wobbles a little bit, straightens out, and hits the target. But if your arrow is too stiff, that bending doesn't happen, and instead the whole arrow just shoots off to the side a little bit. So I need to get, for this 45-pound bow, I need weaker, I need softer spines, so that when that string pulls on that knock, it actually momentarily bows around the handle, and then I'll end up shooting more accurately without having to compensate and shoot to, aim to the right. I think I'm going to have to go get some nice cedar shafts and shoot. Hope you guys enjoyed this particular video on the VOGTLAND shooting method. Feel free to subscribe to my channel, or at least like and give your comments, and we'll see you out there.